Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00. This is my lore and theories video series. In this episode we will explore what could happen if the Flood actually managed to take control of the entire galaxy, and what effect that would have on the Precursors and life in the galaxy as we know it. And it might not be as bad as we think, in the long run. So I was thinking about the Flood and how they're corrupted Precursors, and this led me to wonder what would have happened if at the end of Halo 3 the Flood won and seized control of the Ark. Well, straight off the bat, that's bad news for biodiversity. With the one weapon that could stop the Flood being solely controlled by the Flood, the galaxy would be powerless to stop what would inevitably happen next. The Flood superintelligence would likely quickly infiltrate all of the Ark and take over its systems and begin the task of learning everything it could about the Ark. It would likely capture Tragic Solitude to the monitor at Installation 00 and interrogate it to learn what it knew, and the Flood will also inevitably succeed in that as well. The problem then is that the Flood would have access to the Ark systems and be able to open Ark portals to all known and unknown locations in the galaxy, including the one once buried under East Africa. The Flood would then begin proliferating, using these portals and captured ships, and begin the task of devouring all life in the galaxy. With little to no way to fight back other than conventional means, the galaxy would fall. Considering the Forerunners' technological and military might when they were attacked by the Flood, it wouldn't take anywhere near as long for the Flood to destroy all biodiverse sentient life in the galaxy. But what then? Well, as I've discussed before, the Precursors are transsentient and thus can and do exist on levels of reality and planes of existence we lowly mortals simply cannot comprehend. This means that the Forerunners' war with the Precursors would have been futile. The Forerunners simply do not possess the extent of power and influence necessary to make a species as advanced as the Precursors extinct. Nothing known to science is capable of achieving such a task. That leaves us with one unrelenting fact. The Precursors are not extinct. They simply fled the galaxy and moved beyond the Forerunners' reach because of their ideal. The mantle of responsibility as a precursor construct, not the Forerunners. The mantle states that life is to be protected and allowed to blossom and spread as life is sacred. Life is the universe experiencing itself through itself. Life and the universe are one, because the universe is alive. As such, the Precursors would have understood that the Forerunners' desire to destroy the Precursors would inevitably result in chaos and innocent lives and likely entire species and worlds being lost in the conflict. This is sacrilege and utterly unacceptable. History is always told in the favour of the victors. In this case, the Forerunners claimed that they had hunted and killed every last Precursor, but in reality, the Precursors simply stepped aside, some fleeing, some traversing to higher levels of reality, some breaking themselves down into a powder which eventually corrupted and became what we now call the Flood. This was then misinterpreted as the Precursors' revenge, which may or may not be too far from the truth, but also not the whole truth. Now, with the Forerunners and other violent and conflicted inclined species devoured by the Flood, an eerie, grotesque peace would befall the galaxy. Is it at this moment that the Precursors would return? What would they think of their long-lost, corrupted cousins? They'd likely look upon the Flood with contempt but envy, as the Flood would simultaneously be both horrifically in defiance of the mantle, but simultaneously upholding it. The ruthless consumption of all biodiverse life, but a lasting peace to the life that was left. It's also likely that the Precursors wouldn't necessarily interpret a galaxy of flood-infected species as a singular species, but rather a kind of compound intelligence. Due to their transcendent nature and their perspective on life. But the Precursors would also still wish to carry the mantle as intended, and nurture the galaxy they ceded back to its former glory. Now, back to the Flood and their ultimate infection of the entire galaxy. With every species, every creature, every individual forcibly united by the Flood infection, by the singular compound intelligence of the Gravemind, the Precursors would begin their healing of their corrupted kin, bringing their transcendent technology and their unfathomable intellect to bear. The Precursors would begin rebuilding the Flood, healing the corrupted Precursors within. They would cure their brethren of the corruption, and the abomination of the Flood would once again walk among its brothers and sisters as a member of the Precursors, restored to form. But what of the trillions of infected individuals? All those combat forms and various infected forms of every sentient species? The altering of the Flood back to Precursor status would lift the mutated grotesquerie so characteristic of the Flood and return the infected to their former state, but so much more. These beings would be infused with the essence of the Precursors. They'd be individuals, but they'd share the voice of the Precursors within them. Every species would be one, connected by the Precursor DNA within them, and able to communicate, share knowledge, experience the universe in a way no single species or great intellect before ever could. AIs would pale in comparison to the collective consciousness of a united galaxy, awoken to the truth of the universe, and time and space would fall away. The great journey will have truly begun, and all of this simply from the Flood infecting us all. Got a little carried away there, but what are your thoughts? Did I just invent a new religion for the new covenant to follow? Great. Now we've got to go through that again. Well, that means only one thing.
I need a weapon.
Right this way.
Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below and I look forward to what you have to say. If you're new to the channel and like lore theories and Halo technology being analysed at insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so next time I put a video out you're told the second it hits the shelves. I want to thank the Halo community over at Mino for their support of the channel and my rambling blog posts over there. If you're not already a member, strongly recommend it, jump aboard, link is in the description. Also, if you really like the channel, consider popping over to Patreon and give whatever you can over there. It massively helps me out and frees up more time for me to put into this Halo content and drives towards an ultimate goal that I'm sure you'll love. More details on that in the near future. Thanks again everyone, now go rest your brains.